Okay, so before we get started, there are three crucial things you need to know. First, you need to know that addiction is misunderstood and mistreated. Research shows that the most common recovery programs have less than a 25% success rate. Some even show a 0% success rate. This problem has been recognized on a national level. Secondly, you need to know that the most successful methods that are backed up by tons of research are actually the least known. No one even teaches this or even knows what they are, and they are methods that anyone can do. Thirdly, you need to know that it is possible to rewire your brain out of destructive habit loops or addictions. Okay, so if you're like me, you probably know what it feels like to get those intrusive cravings. You may be just getting off work and you feel that you need to have that drink or that you need to have that smoke. It doesn't matter what the addiction is. These intrusive cravings may come into your mind and make you feel that you need to do something about them right away. But these cravings are really false messages that have been strengthened over and over again. Now, before I get any further, you need to realize that these thoughts aren't you, and those cravings aren't you. So right now, stop thinking that you are weak-willed or morally wrong. It simply isn't true. Now take it from me. When I realized that these cravings weren't me, well, that was the best day of my life. You see, most people, when they feel these intense cravings like they need to take a drink or a smoke, they either give in or try to suppress it. Research shows that suppressing or fighting cravings actually makes matters worse. And this is what 90% of people do. So you might be wondering, who am I and why am I sharing this crucial information with you? Well, my name is A. Scott Roberts, and I am an addiction specialist and researcher. I am an author and a speaker. I also worked at a counseling center, and I have 2 degrees. But let me tell you a bit about my story. As I was doing research in graduate school, I made an incredible discovery. I found that study after study reveals that the most common type of recovery programs are the least effective. Most common recovery programs have less than a 25% success rate, while some lesser-known methods have shown to produce incredible results. Now, I have taught these same techniques and helped people in several countries, and today I am going to help you to do the same. Okay, so let's get right into what you need to know. You've probably heard some crazy things, such as people with addictions are weak-willed, or that they have terrible genetics, or that once you have an addiction, you'll never be able to get rid of it. You may have also heard that everyone relapses, and if you do, you have to start all over again at day 1. And you may have also been told that all you need to do is complete some steps and then graduate from a program so that you can be cured. Scientific evidence goes against all of these things, and this type of thinking is what holds you back from actually breaking free from addictions forever. You see, with most of these common rehab programs, you have to complete some steps or count the days of sobriety and then you graduate. Once you graduate, they tell you that you're cured. You no longer have to worry about your addictions. You can now move on with your life, they say. The truth is that these rehabs also have the highest recidivism rates. Relapse after relapse and failure after repeated failure is built into the system. And these terrible success rates are being recognized on a national level. The data speaks for itself. Relapse can be a part of recovery, not an end to it. Now I'll get to the solution I promised you. This method I speak has been scientifically proven to decrease problem behavior, decrease intrusive thoughts and cravings, and rewire your brain out of destructive habit loops. This method has also shown to dramatically improve behavior and decision making. But I gotta tell you that this method is not advertised. It would probably put all those expensive rehabs out of business because you can't make money off of it. It is something anyone and everyone can do. It is mindfulness cognitive therapy techniques. These techniques have been shown to train your brain and rewire your brain out of destructive habits. And this is backed by tons of research. You see, one method uses what is called the non-reactivity principle. Now, most people, when they have a craving to use or an intrusive thought, they try to suppress it or fight it. Research shows that this actually strengthens the craving because it comes from a part of the brain that is very powerful. And then when people have these cravings, they think that they're a bad person or that they're weak-willed. This isn't true at all, and this misunderstanding makes matters worse. Instead, the non-reactivity principle teaches us just to observe these cravings as you have them. Just acknowledge them. And if you do it properly, what you will find is that they start to leave quickly. They will lessen in intensity, and you will find that you have greater cognitive control. This is typical results. And this method has been backed up by solid research. In a sense, using certain mindfulness techniques will give you a third-person perspective, and instead of reacting aggressively to these cravings, or trying to suppress them or fight them, or get them out of your head, you allow them to pass by simply acknowledging them and refocusing your attention. And if you do this in the correct way, as I will show you, you will notice they are leaving quickly. This method has not only helped thousands of people, but it is backed up by tons of scientific research. And what's better is that the effects of using these techniques are long-term. And when you start using these techniques, automatically your brain will start to redirect attention and it will become easier and easier to do. Scientists refer to the brain as a team of rivals because the brain is a multiple structured system in which different structures fight against each other for dominance. And in order for the brain to properly operate, it must be at balance. To put this into perspective, there are essentially two parts of the brain, the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system. The prefrontal cortex is a higher functioning part of the brain which is rational and logical, and it understands consequences. But the limbic system is a primitive brain. It has no ability to delay gratification. It is pleasure-oriented and selfish. It is concerned with seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. This limbic system is also called the reward system because it is responsible for making us feel better by releasing feel-good chemicals in the brain. Drugs, alcohol, sex, pornography, and even eating activate this reward system in the brain. And from an evolutionary standpoint, this reward system goes back 600 million years before rational thought. This reward system was found in anthropoids, invertebrate phyla, and mollusks. The limbic system is also very necessary for survival. Our ancient ancestors were able to survive because they were rewarded through their behaviors such as eating and sex. But today, our brains aren't designed to deal with these ready-to-access rewards. Drugs, pornography, and other addictions overstimulate this reward system. Addictions, whatever they may be, are hardwired as a survival process. It has become a part of life just as eating or sleeping. But there is another scientifically proven technique that is shown to reverse this wiring of the brain. And included in the Truth of Addiction program, there is a video that explains step by step how to do it. You see, the brain is extremely malleable. It can be changed, formed, remapped, and rewired. Scientists call the brain's ability to change as neuroplasticity. Neurons, which are cells in the brain, are not entirely connected. When we have repetitive thoughts or behaviors, neural pathways or networks are created. These pathways are created by neurons firing or sending a signal to each other. These neurons that fire together, they wire together. But it's also true that when neurons stop firing together, the connections between them become weak and a whole new set of thought patterns and behaviors can be created. Through neural firing, behaviors are either strengthened or weakened. You see, most people take medications or pills to feel better. But medications or pills only temporarily change the brain's chemistry. And this is always a temporary chemical change. It only lasts as long as it is synthesized to last. It is never permanent. You'll always have to take another pill or another drink or another smoke to make you feel better. But when we change our neural pathways, our brain chemistry changes along with it, and this change can be permanent. There are over 100 supporting references found in this guide. Some references from published medical journals, controlled trials, and surveys. You'll also get your own videos showing you the most effective methods to decrease intrusive thoughts and cravings to help you manage your addictions long term. You'll also get a printable guide, Nutrients for Improved Recovery. Now listen to this. According to a study, Addicts that were given certain nutrients showed a 92% success rate. That's huge compared to the basic 12-step programs out there. But not only that, people that used certain nutrients in their diet were able to recover more quickly, had fewer withdrawal symptoms, and were able to manage their addictions long term. The reason that using certain nutrients was so successful is because it can restore the biochemical imbalances in the body that are caused by addiction, no matter what the addiction is, because all addiction problems are largely the same. They are all chemically based in the brain. Now, in one study, rats were given the option of choosing a bowl of water or a bowl of alcohol. When the rats had certain nutrients in their diet, they didn't touch the alcohol. But when they lacked these essential nutrients, the animals chose alcohol over the water. And then as soon as the nutrients were restored to the animals, well, they avoided the alcohol completely. Researchers were able to shift the consumption of alcohol over the water by the deliberate increase or decrease of certain nutrients in their diet. And yes, research shows that humans act the same way.